Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Today we'll talk about chapter 3 that talk about construction. Okay, let's see. The first part is introduction. Yeah. In introduction, you still remember that the important elements in structuring the sentence are words, phrases, and clauses. They are worked on all of smaller units according to particular patterns. The concept of construction is relevant to all areas of grammars. We can see the examples here. The stem field, if we add suffixes ed, fielded as in the fielded ball, and fielder as in cricket are built from the stem plus a suffix field plus ed and field plus er. You can also see the example from the word educational, derived from educate plus ian and plus suffix al. Overlook, this is added by prefix over, then plus term look, become overlook. Okay, let's see the next part, different construction and different meaning. There are two ideas central to our discussion here on construction in clauses. The first is we can recognize basic clauses and more complex clauses and can work out the relation between them. That is, construction are not isolated structure but fit into a general network. That is the first idea. And the second idea is that different construction exist. All have been created by the speakers and writers of a given language to enable speakers and writers to signal what they are doing with particular utterance. This connection between different construction and different acts performed by speaker and writer is also central in the discussion of meaning and word classes or parts of speech in chapter 4. Yeah, you can see later in chapter 4. Now we first examine a number of different construction in English and then consider the questions of the relationship among them. Jadi dalam membuat struktur suatu kalimat, jika kita mengubah struktur tersebut, bisa saja struktur tersebut tetap mempertahankan makna the original meaning, but can also make different meaning. So different structure could be different meaning. Let's see the example. The wealthy young man bought that piano for his secret fiancée. And 1b, did the wealthy young man buy that piano for his secret fiancée? Okay, you can see the example 1a and 1b are really related. Kedua kalimat ini saling berhubungan secara semantik. In that they both have to do with the situation of one person. Ini merujuk pada satu orang, that is the wealthy young man. There's also wealthy young man. And the same activity bought something. And the same object, that piano, and for another person, for his secret fiancée. Both examples share the same point in past time. Semuanya ini menjelaskan kejadian pada past time. Both the wealthy, ini past time. You can see both and the use of auxiliary verb did. The young man completed the purchase of the piano. Jadi sudah aktivitas membeli piano sudah selesai. Will was buying that piano would have left it open whether a purchase was completed or not. The semantic relationship is indicated by 3 properties of example. Jadi ada 3 properti yang menanda hubungan antara kedua konstruksi kalimat ini. Yang pertama, marked by book in 1A. We have book in here, yeah. There also we have by here because of the use of auxiliary did in here. Then book become by. Then two example differ in that B has did. Yeah, B did in the beginning of the clause, while 1A does not. Tidak ada, because this is the declarative sentence. This declarative construction sama, but the second is interrogative construction. Tapi keduanya mempunyai hubungan satu sama lain. All other interrogative constructions are used when speaker know that particular type of event took place but not the identity of one or more participants. You can see the example in number 2, A, B, C. All the interrogatives here, it is known as WH question because the three questions use who, what, and who, yeah, in the construction. In 2A until C, the participants is unknown, tidak diketahui. 2A, related in the meaning someone bought a piano. Someone bought a piano for secret fiancé. Note that someone bought that piano for secret fiancé had the same general syntactic structure as number 1A just now, namely a noun phrase, yaitu the wealthy young man. Then the verb, and then a prepositional phrase for his secret fiancé. Syntactic changes are slightly more complex. Perubahan sintaktis ya itu memang lebih kompleks. Where the identity of the buyer is requested as in 2A. Jadi di sini identitas pembeli tidak diketahui. Someone is replaced by who. Gantinya adalah who. And something replaced by what. Selanjutnya who replace the fiancé, and did is inserted into the clause just following who and what. Ini did ini harus mengikuti who dan what. They cannot build the interrogative sentences without putting did as the auxiliary verb in both sentences. Di atas tidak perlu karena langsung saja who bought. Tidak bisa who did bought. Langsung who bought that piano for his secret fiancé. Okay, let's see. Returning to 1A, we see the other constructions are related to it. Ini, the wealthy young man bought his secret fiancé that piano. Yang berubah di sini adalah posisi preposisi for is omitted, is missing, dihilangkan. And that piano has swept, bergeser, tampaknya menggeser his secret fiancé. Tadinya di sini that piano for his secret fiancé, because the sentence construction is changed into this form, so it is need to omit, menghilangkan preposisi for. We cannot use for this kind of construction. Tidak cocok pakai for. If you say the wealthy young man bought for his secret fiancé that piano, karena ini di swap, digeser ke sini, otomatis for-nya tidak boleh digunakan lagi dalam konstruksi seperti ini. Okay, example 3 may be used when the fiancé has already mentioned and the piano is being introduced into the conversation. 1A more likely to be used when the piano has already been mentioned in it is the fiancé who is being brought into the narrative. Jadi kalimat ini boleh dibuat seperti ini jika ada ujaran atau kalimat sebelumnya yang sudah menyebutkan secret fiancé and the piano. This is the example, another example, but it seems a longer text. Kalimat yang lebih panjang, but still relate to the previous construction, to the previous sentence. You were asking about the piano you saw. Frank Schulze, how to say, was a wealthy young man who came to stay in Hartfield. His secret fiancée was living in Hartfield with Mrs. and Miss Bates. He bought her that piano. Now, what is the explanation of this sentence? The fact that sentences are typically combined to create longer. Ini consists of how many sentences? 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 4 sentences combined in here. With manual of languages include a selection of different texts in addition to the detail of the morphology and syntax of a given language. Jadi setiap bahasa memiliki aturan bagaimana menggabungkan kalimat-kalimat yang tentu saja saling berhubungan, interrelated. Utterance in 1A in an example of declarative. It is also example of an active clause with contrast with the corresponding passive clause in 5. Jadi contoh nomor 1A tadi adalah bentuk deklaratif dan contoh bentuk klausa aktif. Number 5. That piano was bought for his secret fiancé by the wealthy young man. Sekarang ini adalah contoh konstruksi klausa pasif. Why call this is a passive? The term passive comes historically from Latin yang artinya petir, kata petir, I suffer. Or more exactly from its past participle, as in possess some, having suffered I am. That is, I have suffered. Di menderita, makanya ada istilah objek penderita pada kalimat pasif. Construction 5 is called long passive because it contains an agent noun phrase. Mana agent noun phrase-nya? Inilah dia, the wealthy young man. Example number 6. I don't like the plum brandy. The port I just love. Ini konstruksi yang berbeda. The clause in the brackets provide plausible context for the second clause. Ini konteks yang plausible ya, yang masuk akal. The speaker contrasts 2 types of alcoholic drink. Dia memberikan kontras antara 2 jenis minuman alkohol. Where he doesn't like jenis plum, but in other side he like the port, jenis port. Let's see the next part, types of construction. Kita akan memperkenalkan istilah kata kerja be, traditionally called the copula or linking verb, and construction that have an ordinary verb. So both copula and non-copula construction can be declarative. That is, they can have the structure used for making statement. And interrogative, that is, they can have the structure using for asking question. Jadi, konstruksi kalimat copula dan non-copula itu bisa dibentuk deklaratif, yaitu bisa digunakan untuk membuat statement. Bisa juga digunakan dibentuk menjadi kalimat interrogatif, konstruksi interrogatif, di mana kalimat itu digunakan untuk asking questions. You can see example of questions. It can be split into two types. The first is yes/no interrogatives, usually started from auxiliary verb did he phone, where the answer should be yes or no. And WH questions, the question should be started from WH questions. W interrogatives are used for asking questions about participants in a situation. So we can use who, when, what, and where. See the example. Who phoned? When did he phone? What did he say? Where was he when he phoned? In declarative construction, the verb can be followed by a noun phrase and a prepositional phrase, as in both the piano for Jane in 7a, and by two noun phrases, as in both Jane the piano 7b. The form construction is here labeled oblique object, and the latter is labeled double object. Jadi dalam satu konstruksi kalimat bisa memiliki objek yang sifatnya oblik dan juga ada yang double object. Let's see the example. In interrogative construction can be oblique object, as in big friend by the piano for Jane. Ini menggunakan oblique object, langsung by the piano. Langsung kata kerja by diikuti oleh objek langsung the piano. Ataupun double object, as in did Frank by Jane the piano. Ini dikatakan double object because Jane is mentioned as the object and so does the piano. Dikatakan objeknya ada dua, Jane and the piano. In turn, double object construction can be active or passive, as in Frank bought Jane the piano. Ini bentuknya pasif. Then it can be changed into passive form, passive construction. Jane baru ketemu pointernya. Jane was bought that piano by Frank. Passive construction, it's signed by the use of to be and past participle and also the word by. Yeah. See? Now, the oblique object construction too can be active or passive. As in, Frank bought the piano for Jane. Nah, ini kalimat aktif, and the piano was bought for Jane by Frank. Jadi, double object maupun the oblique object bisa diubah menjadi aktif dan pasif. Okay, based on the explanation, we can make the conclusion of all this construction by using the term copula and non-copula, declarative, active, and the kind of object, whether could be oblique object or double object. Frank bought the piano for Jane. Bisa dianalisa. This is the non-copula. Non-copula, you can see the verb is bought. Tadi ingat bahwa copula itu adalah kata kerja yang menggunakan be atau linking verb. Dan the construction is declarative and active, and the object is oblique object. Bedakan oblique object dengan double object. Oblique object langsung kata kerja diikuti oleh objek langsung. Frank Bob Jane the piano is still non-copula, then declarative, active, and double object. Double object tadi Jane swept into previously the piano. Yeah, and then the preposition for is missing. Lambok Jane the piano. And next, the piano was bought for Jane by Frank. Still non-copula, and construction is declarative, but now the construction is changed to be passive, and also the object become still oblique object. Ini bentuk pasif ya. And the piano Frank bought for Jane. This is non-copula, declarative, and active. Kembali ke aktif. And oblique object. Objeknya langsung. Dan ada istilah baru lagi, topik. Karena pianonya ini aktif, tapi the object is swept. The piano is swept into the initial of the sentence, digeser ke depan sehingga di sini disebutkan sebagai topik. Tapi walaupun digeser ke depan dia masih berbentuk aktif. The piano Frank bought for Jane. Tapi kalimat ini jarang digunakan. You can see example 8a, Dick Frank buy the piano for Jane. This is still non-copula, but the construction is interrogative, and the kind of interrogative is yes, no, and still in active construction, and use oblique object. By the piano. Be Dick Frank by Jane the piano, non-copula, interrogative, still yes, no, and still active, but double object. Double object because Jane and the piano we omit or missed prepositional for. Then Jane is swept to after the verb by. Okay, you can see the example clearly. And she was the piano bought for Jane by the Frank. Nah, ini bentuk pasif. Menggunakan oblique object. And the interrogative is yes, no. Yes, no selalu menggunakan to be, ya. Okay, let's see relation between construction. It is generally accepted that declarative construction in 7a is basic. Kalimat deklaratif dalam contoh 7a itu adalah kalimat dasar. It is most frequent type construction in English. Paling sering ditemukan bentuk ini dalam bahasa Inggris because speaker most often make assertion. Karena lebih banyak speaker itu membuat ujaran. Indeed assertion about agents. Ya, yang melibatkan agent pelaku, and it allows the widest range of modification, sehingga memberi peluang untuk modifikasi kalimat dengan berbagai macam konstruksi. Seperti kalimat Frank had been buying the piano for Jane is perfectly acceptable, and even the piano had been being bought by Frank. Bisa dimodifikasi kalimatnya karena adanya karena deklaratif sentence ini. Meskipun awkward kedengarannya kaku, but it can be used in text instead of unmodified passive, although the text do not run as smoothly. Kalimat yang kedua ini dikatakan kaku dan konstruksi pasif yang tidak dimodifikasi. Nah, jadi kalimat ini it seems do not run as smoothly. The basic construction in 7a is related to other construction 7b and c, and also to interrogative construction in A. We can think of the relationship among the construction as path that led from the basic construction to the others. Jadi 7a ini menjadi basic construction to change to many kinds of construction in English sentences. See example number 9. What did run by for James? The kind is non-copula, interrogative, WH question, active oblique object. Ini kalimat interrogatif yang aktif dan menggunakan objek oblique. In the discussion of 2a until c, we saw that 9 relates not to frame both a piano for Jane, but to frame both something for Jane. The speaker knows that Frank both and Jane receive a present and asks for the present to be specified. We have 3 constructions to connect, shown in number 10. Ini kan semuanya untuk menunjukkan bagaimana hubungan antar konstruksi kalimat. Satu kalimat deklaratif yang diubah menjadi beberapa bentuk kalimat, tapi still have relation. Frank bought something for Jane. Non-copula, deklaratif, active, and oblique object. Did Frank buy something for Jane? Non-copula, interrogative, yes, no, active, and use oblique object. What if Frank buy for Jane? Is still non-copula, interrogative, but WH question, and in active form, and use oblique object. Ini kan masih berhubungan dengan kalimat 10a. Ya, did Frank buy something for Jane? Ini untuk memastikan benarkah Frank membeli sesuatu untuk Jane. Kalau yang C masih tentang Frank buy for Jane. Ini langsung menanyakan what did, apa sih yang Frank beli untuk Jane? The capture the fact that 10b and 10c have something in common, the occurrence of the auxiliary verb did before the subject Frank. It is also capture the fact in syntactic terms in 10c is further away from 10a than 10b, since only is there the auxiliary verb did. Ada kata did preceding the subject Frank. But 10c also contains W noun pronoun what. Jadi perbedaannya pada penggunaan auxiliary verb did dan 10c penggunaan W pronoun what. Yeah, that's the explanation in this part. Then we come to copula construction. Seperti apa sih bentuk copula itu? Konstruksi copula. Copula construction are divided into copula and non-copula. Then each of these divided into declarative and interrogative and so on. Whether passive are copula and non-copula is moot point. Let's see the example of copula construction. Non-phrase copula adverb phrase. Fiona is very happy. Jadi ini adalah kalimat copula because the verb is copula menggunakan be, and this is assigned as ascriptive. Nah, istilahnya kalau menggunakan adverb adjective phrase ascriptive. Kemudian yang non-phrase copula, non-phrase, Fiona is the best students. Copula equative. Kenapa equative? Fiona is the non-phrase, is also non-phrase. Non-phrase copula prepositional phrase. Fiona is authormative. Copula and this is locative. Apa artinya ini? Authormaci. Kemudian copula is Latin word for link atau connection. The motivation for different level is that construction in 11 and their Latin equivalents do not describe situation in one participant perform an action possibly on another person or things. Copula adalah kata berasal dari bahasa Latin yang berarti link atau koneksi. Motivasi menggunakan label yang berbeda adalah bahwa konstruksi pada contoh nomor 11 dan Latin equivalentnya do not describe tidak menggambarkan situasi di mana satu partisipan menunjukkan sebuah aksi, melakukan sebuah aksi. Possibly kemungkinan on another person atau orang benda lain. Ya. Jadi copula itu tidak menjelaskan situasi di mana agent atau partisipan itu melakukan aksi terhadap orang lain atau benda lain. Jadi hanya menjelaskan tadi sifat, kemudian lokatif dan juga apa satu? Assertif. Rather, the verb is merely links the subject non-phrase, ya. Hanya menghubungkan subjek dengan non-phrase pada kasus very happy, kemudian non-phrase the best students, dan prepositional phrase authormative. Jadi tidak ada di sini yang menggambarkan situasi di mana pelaku melakukan aksi terhadap orang lain atau terhadap sesuatu. Ascriptive copula clauses digunakan untuk ascribe a property. Apa sih ascribe? Let me see. Untuk menggambarkan, menjelaskan properti suatu entitas, kondisi suatu entitas. Seperti happiness is ascribed to Fiona. Equative copula clauses digunakan untuk menyatakan bahwa satu entitas itu sama dengan entitas lainnya, equal. Tadi ya. Tadi contohnya apa? Ini Fiona is the best students. The speaker 11b use 11b to shade on the assumption that there are two entities, Fiona and the best student, that these two entities are one and the same person. Makanya dikatakan equative. Fiona is equated to the best students. Kemudian the label copula dan locative is self-explanatory. This construction is used in order to state, untuk menjelaskan, menyatakan di mana suatu entitas berada. Ada 3, lokatif, lagi assertif, dan apalagi satu, equative. The copula construction display a number of peculiarities compared with the intransitive construction. Example 11a to c cannot be made passive, at least according to the handbooks of standard written English. The pronoun that is the complement of the copula is in the nominative form. It was I, he, she, but it was we and it was they sound peculiar. janggal, tidak cocok. Is can be moved to the front of the clause to make an interrogative. Jadi tadi itu bisa diubah menjadi konstruksi interrogatif. Is Fiona the best student? In this respect, is resemble has as used in some variety. Has a car? Has a Fiona a car? Bisa digunakan di sini karena belum jelas benar enggak mobil apa sih yang dimiliki oleh Fiona. But have combines with to for emphasis. Fiona does have a car. And also in interrogatives, does Fiona have a car? Jadi maknanya jadi berbeda. If we use has Fiona a car, does Fiona has a car, ini untuk emphasis, emphasize, menekankan benar nggak Fiona punya mobil. Kalau di sini Fiona punya mobil ya. Sini make sure or emphasize does Fiona have a car. Nah, yang tidak boleh adalah be does not combine with do, tidak boleh digabung seperti dalam kalimat Fiona does be, tidak ada ini. Atau does Fiona be, itu salah. Okay, that's the end of the explanation, the material of construction. Thank you very much for your attention. Hopefully you can understand the material. If you still confused about the material, you may ask or you may comment in our group or in this part of comment. Thank you very much. Good day. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.